Man, he got angry with that one. A couple through here got tore up pretty good, but he got angry with it. I want to do a video today and kind of cover some more of this Kansas land, but also talk a little bit about hunting military installations. If you're a public hunter, you like to travel other states like I do, then you're not looking at the military installations in those states and looking at your ability to gain access to them and hunt them, you're missing out on some major opportunities. Here in particular, probably some people mad about this, think I'm spot burning or whatever, but I'm on Fort Riley. 100,000 acres is actually like 103,000 acres, I believe what it is. And check it out on the freaking website. Military and their family gets to access to hunt it. Other than that, they only bring in, I think they 200 hunters this year. They allowed to get access to it. 171 last year. So I mean, if you're gonna come archery hunt Fort Riley, you're going to, one, have to get drawn for the correct unit, Kansas, and two, unless you have a family member stationed here, a direct family member stationed here, you're going to be here in person in late August to get a hunting access. Usually it's the last Saturday of August. The biologists or conservation guides over Fort Riley will issue out a safety brief and hunting brief and permits, and someone still got a deer stand over here, but yeah, the permits. And if you're one of the lucky guys to get the permit, then you have access. Can't believe that fella still got a deer stand here. Kind of surprised old game warden hadn't came and put a tag on that bad boy yet. Usually by this time of the year they'll come in and pull the stand and leave a card on the tree, let them know where they can come get it. Not yet. Oh boy, that back there had to have his lock on stand in that draw. I mean, there's several trees up here you can work with. I don't know if he had a reason he picked that draw, but I would definitely rather be on this hillside. Especially down that draw, them deer likely come up that sapsucker, and your wind and thermal's likely to be carrying your odor down it. Not exactly my first pick of a location. And a lot of these trees though, just not quite big enough hole to stand. There's some options out here though. Get down in these draws, and there's just endless options down there. I've been fortunate enough to live in several states, been able to hunt them, and most of the places I've traveled to and hunted, the military installations in those spots have been some of the best hunting. Some of my biggest deers came from military installations. No wrong, my top 2 deer ever came off either state or national forest land, but I have a wall full of really good deer that came off military installations. Beautiful country across here. We're gonna see what all we can cover. Maybe I'll find some more stuff to show y'all throughout this video. Down a pocket of willows in between some big fields here, pretty much every direction around me. And that's impressive, they tore that up. Pretty much every direction around me is open field, and this pocket of willows here is really the only good cover nearby. Got a little pond down here, probably provides some water source, but they're using this heavy. A lot of good buck signs, several scrapes in here. Got a big road coming up here. A lot of people ask how these deer transition through these open fields, open areas, and a lot of times they'll find what little bit of structure they are and they'll kind of move to it. Also, some of these open fields are deceiving. They'll have little sink downs like this. It has trees in it, and them deer move through them, but if you're setting up on high ground looking across them, you don't really notice it. Big old rub there. I mean, there's that pond down. We just pop out in open fields again. Just recently burned this sometime in the last few days. I don't know exactly when, but should improve our odds of finding some deer antlers if there's still any out. Glad that went the way it did. It could have been a little awkward if he decided he didn't like me being that close. Fortunately, I didn't have my bow. Been nice to have the old longbow with me. Got a coyote kill right there. Walked right up on that fella sleeping out here on this rock side. It's a good time to really talk about some of the terrain here. Everyone coming to Kansas with the ideal in their head is flat. And you can kind of see what we're working with here. And I'm in one draw, and it pretty much goes up on a hilltop and drops in another draw on the east side of me. And trying to get out of this wind. But we're far from flat. As you look across this from the top, it can look flat because everything goes down. Everything's a draw or washout. There ain't no real hills or anything. And trust me, you get one of these Kansas deer in here, 200 to 250 pound mature animal, you're gonna have some work ahead of you. Get him out of here. My youngest son killed a really big 8-point. I had to drag out of a draw similar to this, and had to move the deer probably 600 yards, but about 50 yards of us getting up one of these banks, and that about killed me. It reminded me real quick how big one of these bucks can be. All right, see what else we find. Got 2 or 3 of these draws come together here. Got one coming in that way. Got a pretty good trail coming down. Another one coming in that way. It's one I just came off of. Another one coming in off here. And then they kind of come together, create a little hub here. And got what looks like some pretty consistent bedding under this hub here. Even though it's been burnt out, pretty good little bed here. I don't know how well it transpires. Scrapes all around it. Scrapes going up the hill, scrapes here. Nothing impressive, but scrapes all around it. Another old bed at the base of this tree, and then over here, and these are wore down in the dirt beds, not packed down leaves. I mean, I don't see the sign here to make me really want to come hunt this buck, but kind of shows you how they use some of these hubs. And I can feel that wind coming right in off this. I bet that sun gun's coming in from 2 or 3 different directions here and pulling. So gives him a lot of advantage with his nose when he's laid up here. When he got his back to a hill here, so if you know he's down there, next to impossible to sneak over that thing, how thick it is, but you could try to sneak over and get a shot. he's watching that side. He's got a pretty good little safe spot there. It'd be a spot you definitely have to really get a good pattern on him and come in and why he's not here and catch him coming in. Got a hell of a trail coming down through here though. And it might even be freaking over watching this bad boy. Trying to catch does passing, whatever. Hopefully the wind ain't messing up the video too much. Or audio. It's one of the things, I grew up in the South. And was always told to not hunt windy days, or that deer ain't gonna move windy days, whatever. That's not the case in Kansas. These deer, if they didn't move on windy days, they wouldn't move at all. But I've actually came to the opposite. I really like to hunt these really windy days. Had some very, very good hunts, very successful hunts, where the noise of the wind has allowed me to get extremely close to an animal. Heck, the coyote just a few minutes ago, granted he was sleeping on a rock, but I'm sure wind coverage helped a lot. And of course, with this kind of wind like this, being hard as it is and pretty directional, it's very easy to predict where your wind is going to cast. Defeat that deer's nose a little bit. I'm a true believer that my biggest buck ever I killed this year, the wind was a huge factor in that hunt. I don't know if I would have got in and got the shot off that I wanted to, or I did, if I was making as much noise as I would. Old ground scrape there. Be nice to find a big old antler in here, but good place to come in and hunt numerous different ways. Plenty of tree options to get up in. Plenty of ground cover. Sitting in top of these old deadfalls or rearranging limbs set in them. A lot of avenues of entry. A lot of different ways you can play a hunt in here. These big old acorns I found are beneficial early season here. If you're here in October, September, October, they can be very beneficial. See if I can get up this bank. They got cleaned up pretty quick after that. There's old deadhead. Let's see what's up with this. Probably just a doe. Might be a saw off. Got someone cut the antlers off that maybe. I don't know. Shedded buck. Still, you. Coyote probably just carried that thing up and chewing on it not too long ago. It's full of nastiness. Alright, we'll come back when we find something else. Then bounced over a couple of ridge lines over from where that burnt land was. Got on some that ain't burnt. Give you an idea of how this looks when it's not burnt. Got the hardwood bottom down here. You can see the ridge slide over there on the other side. I just ran a deer off that actually. Looked like a little yearling doe or a yearling deer. Plenty of beds down here in this grass. Does and fawns and young bucks. Especially this time of year when the majority of our winds coming out north. You get on these south facing slopes. They get that sun in their face in the mornings, warm them up. Got the wind coming over the backside to not really hit them super hard and freeze them. Hill's kicking my butt right now. Nice little freaking incline here. I mentioned using the turkey packs before and setting up on the ground. I personally got a little intersection here where they're coming through, coming up over there, down that way. I like to set up on these places like this, getting that brush, there by some of them cedars or something. Use that kind of block me off and get a really close-up shot on the ground at them. Tons of options here ground hunting, but not too many sitting in a tree. I always advise anyone coming to Kansas, have a ground plan. I personally don't like using blinds, but if that's your ground plan, that's your ground plan. Actually, I came across someone set up down there they left out. They've like been there a couple years. Old rotten blind material, 4 or 5 screw-in pegs in a tree with blind hanging off of it. Using that to hang their blind on a tree. So they brought in a staple gun and stapled it in a few spots. All in which isn't legal on this piece of public. A lot of Kansas will allow you to screw stuff into the trees, but not this one. One of my favorite methods here in Kansas, using the climbing spurs. A lot of the state land and Corps Engineer land will allow it, but I highly advise checking the regs and making sure whatever land you're on allows it. Once again, just like the screw-in pegs, this particular land doesn't allow it. Thought I'd find an antler or two by now, but I guess everyone's done beat me to the punch on this spot. Down here out of this wind, these we got a cold front blowing in today, but so it's pretty chilly up there. These south-facing shelves actually make for really good spots. I literally just dropped 20 feet in elevation and got a good bit of that wind off me. There's actually a really good trail coming right through here. And these cedars in here also make good wind blocks. And them deer take advantage of that big time. Gonna be a pretty good little path here, a little crossover. Yeah. Let's drop down here and see what it looks like. I think that's like a pretty good structure in here actually. It's gonna be pretty thick in here though. I don't know if I'm gonna trek through all that. I'm kind of curious to see what's on the other side there though. And cutting through all that mess was a pain in the butt. We got a good little cliff over here. Make our way back up towards the car. See a lot of these cedar trees where these people come in here and carve them out a hole up there in the top of them. That one hadn't been done, but not a lot of hunting sign here either. I want to do it. They'll throw a lock-on stand up there. You see a big old bald spot inside the cedar. Actually, out there looks like it might have been done at one point in time in between them forks. But climb them limbs, get up there, saw some stuff off, make room to set up, and throw a lock on in there and hunt. Alright, I'm gonna wrap this one up today. The bed down here. A couple good rubs here. Yeah, we're gonna wrap this up. Go get back in the car, get warmed up. There's some good trails coming through here, and this is right off road. Good Lord. But yeah, go get warmed up and go see what the wife wants to do this evening. We got snow in the forecast, so let's see how that turns out. I'm not too excited about that. I'm kind of ready to be done with winter. Man, it does look good though. A lot of good heavy trails. anytime you find a good looking spot right next to the road, you want to hunt it. I'm big on getting away from the road, but I like the idea of easy hunt on time to time. I'm a big fan of going where others ain't willing to, but I'm also a big fan of walking 100 yards and climbing a tree. Well, see you next time.